Welcome to day 29. In this one, we are going to be talking about integrating with the Twitter API, and that is using Python to do all sorts of Twitter stuff. We're going to be doing it for our individual account, so definitely sign up for Twitter if you don't already have an account. But what we're going to be doing here, you could eventually integrate into such as like a Django application using the system Django All-Auth. And you can learn about Django All-Auth and Django on our website. That is joincfe.com and /projects. That will actually take you there. So if you just go joincfe.com/project/All-Auth, it'll take you to Django All-Auth, but you might want to learn some more Django stuff in there. So what we're doing here is going to allow us to do that. And I'm going to use this fake username called Hungry Pie. Well, it's fake in only the sense that we are just kind of trying something out here and we're going to show you what to do. So I am logged in and I want to be on dev.twitter.com because the first thing that we need to do is create an app. So we need to make our own app inside of Twitter. This app in particular could be used for other users. That means that if somebody authenticated with your application through Twitter, you could actually grab their keys, some access token keys, and be able to do the same thing we're about to do with these other users. It's a little bit more advanced, and that's why I showed you Django All-Auth, but that's what these apps do. They're really powerful because it allows you to work with these social apps such as Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. You can actually build stuff on top of their APIs to do more social things. So we've already done the basic stuff of communication that's been around for a long time, and that's email and text messaging. And now it's time to look at the social side of things so we can actually use Python to do all sorts of stuff in that. So what I want to do is inside of dev.twitter.com, I'm actually going to scroll to the very bottom and I want to look for manage your apps. Somewhere in there, you're going to find manage your apps. You can also most likely go to apps.twitter.com and that should actually take you to your application management place. If this changes, I believe that Twitter would make a very significant way to show you that it's changed, but it hasn't changed in a long time, so I doubt that it's going to change now. So let's go ahead and create our new app, and I'm going to call this Hungry Pie, and this is going to be a test app to show users how to use the Twitter API. And then our website, joincfe.com, is what we're going to be doing here. And then, of course, you read the developer agreement if you end up doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and create my application now. Okay, so this is the application. There's not a whole lot that I need to do here as far as like setup. It's already mostly set up. But what I do want to do, as you may be familiar with or used to, is I want to get my API keys. So let's go ahead and manage keys, and it takes me to keys and access tokens. I want to get these two here. This is for the app itself. It doesn't have anything to do with the user, just the app. So let's go ahead and open up Sublime Text 2. I created a new file called Tweet It Up, and I'm actually going to recreate this file in our desktop because I want to have it in a virtual environment. So let's go ahead and do that first. And I'll do virtual env-p python3, and I'll call it tweet it up as the folder, or just tweet up, and cd into tweet up. And then we want to activate the virtual environment. Of course, if you already have your other virtual environment ready and going, that's fine. You can stick with that one. And now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and save this file inside of there. So file save as, and we're going to go onto our desktop, into Tweet It Up, and I'm just going to make a new folder called src. Just kind of by habit, I'm doing that, and I'm putting tweetitup.py in there. Of course, this is going to be on our GitHub, so you don't have to do all of those things exactly like that, but we do want to have an environment that we can at least install what we're about to. So let's go back into Chrome, and I'm going to copy these keys, and I'll paste them in here. So I'm going to turn this into Python in just a second. Okay, so I just paused the video and made them into Python. Very simple, not a whole lot going on here. So we've got our keys. Now what I want is my access token. So I can actually go in here and go to your access token and create one. So what this does is it creates a personal access token for this app. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's literally just your own token. So this is what you would end up doing if you had a Django application or some sort of web application that authenticates like the user's login, as you may have done with Twitter already. It would send back these tokens so you'd be able to use them. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and just do access token equals to that. And then the secret, access secret equals to that. Let's get rid of this space here. Okay, great. So now that we've got this, we want to now introduce the library that we're going to be using. And this is Python-Twitter. It's a really good library, and it's fairly popular itself to actually do what we are about to do. Now, Python Twitter is not supported directly by Twitter. Somebody else created this. Bear is the one who created this guy right here. And it's possible that Twitter has given their thumbs up for this, but it's a really good API, very straightforward, and really, really good documentation. So in order for us to install it, it's really simple. We just go into our virtual environment and we install Python-Twitter. Okay, so now that that's installed, we're going to go ahead and import it in here. And we'll do import Twitter. And we're going to come down and we want to authenticate this user. That is, we want to be able to get this user's information. We want to be able to do stuff with it. So to do that, we just do API, twitter.api, and this is API underscore. So API being now we can interact with the API. So this is like connecting the API, or it would be connecting the API. So we want to add in our consumer key first, and that's going to be equal to the variable of consumer key. And then we want to add in our consumer secret, again, the variable of consumer secret. And then we want to add in access token key, and that's going to be our access token. And then the last one is access token secret, and that's going to be to our access secret. Okay, so this should allow us to have our API ready. So let's actually see what's going on here by doing API.verify credentials. Okay, so this is a method that was created in the Python Twitter library, and we can just test it out right now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy all this stuff, go back into terminal, go into Python, paste it in, press enter, and there we go. So we've got all of our credentials and they're actually working. Notice the name, background color, the profile image, all of that stuff. It is actually working in a way that we'd want to see. So now we can play around with it a little bit more. Let's say, for instance, we want our friends. So users equals to api.getFriends. We could totally do that. That's exactly how it works. We copy that, paste it in, and we can now print out users, and it shows all the people that it considers friends. So what does that mean exactly? How many of these people are actually following this user or my user that's authenticated? How many people are actually following that? And we can try intuitively by doing get followers, and let's spell followers correctly. And it looks like it worked. So if we print out users, we see there's just one follower. Cool. So that's another way. And let's go ahead and copy that. I'm going to leave this on here. And I'm going to actually name these out as they are. So followers and friends. So friends is everybody, right? So followers and people that you're actually connected to. Well, we can actually look at the documentation to get more than there's just this. So the documentation, if you go to GitHub, you can actually scroll down a little bit. There is a link for the documentation. Right, let's see. The documentation link was just down a little bit, and we've got Python documentation right here. So I can click on that. I've already done that, and then I went down to the API module. So you would go down here into the modules documentation, API, and that's what we're looking at. So if I scroll down a little bit, I see all these other methods. I'm going to just copy these and we will paste them in our code. And this is all the things that we can do. So there's more stuff to this than just what we see here. But what I can do is actually use these things. And I paused the video and just got rid of those little ticks so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so how do we do this exactly? Post updates. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to actually post an update specifically for this particular user. So we could do that by just simply saying status equals to, let's say, @Justin Mitchell. That's me, actually. I don't use Twitter a lot, but that is it. And then you could say hashtag Python is amazing. And then hashtag 30 days of Python, and maybe http://joincfe.com/projects. Cool. So we could totally do that, and let's go ahead and do it. Post update. And we're gonna set it equal to that. Let's go ahead and make a few spaces here. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, go into terminal, paste this out, and required one positional argument, and that's status. Oops, we spelled status incorrectly. My mistake there. Let's try that again. And we paste it in. Nothing seems to happen. If I print out the post update, well, it looks like I did do it. So let's go ahead and look at Twitter. And we'll go to our home page, our own page. And we'll go to tweets and replies. And there it is, 19 seconds ago. It actually tweeted for us. This is a real tweet. It's actually there. So you guys can definitely go on and check it out. In fact, we could do it again if we wanted to. Let's do it again. Status is a duplicate. Can't actually do it more than once. So there are, some limitations to how you actually do this, but that is pretty much it. So if I got rid of some stuff and just said Python is amazing, there it goes, right? Notice it got rid of the HTTP. It just left it at joincfe.com/projects. So there is a way that's actually going to shorten that status. And the API has a way to check how long that status is going to be. So say, for instance, you wanted to post a status as well as send a text message and possibly even an email. If you had all of that data, like that user's stuff, you totally could we want to check out the length, and I'll just say length of status equals to, and this is going to be twitter.twitter_utils.calc expected status. So that function, status length, and then the status equaling to something. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make this into a variable so we can play around with it a little bit. Status var equals to that. And we're going to put it there and there. So now we can get that length of the status. And oh yes, we want to verify that that's in there. Let's try that again. Paste that in. Print out the length of status. 74 characters. Perfect. Now that is nice, especially like when Twitter had a very strict limit on characters. This length status came in to handle, or it was just more useful then. So now what we could also try out is posting a direct message, right? So I'll say new message equals to, and notice that it says user and text. So these are going to be keyword arguments here, but I'm going to have to explain how user and text works. So text is simple, it's just text, and I'll say hi there. User instead is not user, but rather screen name. That's going to be a little bit easier for us. You could use the user ID, but screen name is what you're used to. So like @ whatever. That is how you can actually send this particular message, and then we can print out new message. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here. Print out new message. The message was sent, right? So this is a private message now. It is not a public tweet, right? So that's what the status message is, or an update message is an actual public tweet. So this post message went through fine to that user, but what if I tried a different user? In fact, what if I tried one of my quote unquote friends? So let's go ahead and see who my friends are. Well, if I print out friends, I get a bunch of these user objects, right? So I see user, it's a class, and then has ID and then screen name, and then we can go through here. Well, what if I wanted to see all of those different users? Now, if you go back to what we did before, we could do for, as in previous videos, we could find out what methods are available to us for any particular user. So I'll say for you and friends, and then I'll print out dir of you. And we press enter, and I see that I've got a lot of different things in here. One of them is screen name, one of them is profile background color, and so on, name, ID, so forth. And now what I can do then is just print out u.screenname. Make sure you put that underscore there. And then I'll just also print out a new line. And here we go. We've got Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, all these different screen names or usernames that we can actually work with. So let's go ahead and grab Magic Johnson, and we're going to try and send a message to Magic. So new Magic message. And the screen name is Magic Johnson, so I'm going to just put it down right there and copy this stuff. Change Magic or my username there and say, hey, Magic, big fan. He's a basketball player. If you don't know who he is, you should definitely look up him on YouTube. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that and paste it in here. I get an error. It says you cannot send messages to users who are not following you. That's really nice. So there are API things or limits to the API that prevent us from doing all types of stuff. Now, I'm going to leave it here and let you guys test all the different things that you want to. Hopefully you can actually try out how this works itself. So when we did that post update, let's see, post update. And I get an ID here. So let's do post update.id. That didn't work. So I'm going to do post update. Notice it is a list here. So there's a list element going on. So I'll say post update is 0.id. I'll try that again. And now I can actually get that ID. So here's this status ID, right? So I just got a status ID and it's equal to that. So I just put status ID equaling to that number. Go ahead and copy this, paste, and there we go. We get that actual status ID. So here it is. You guys can play around with this as much as you like, but if you see, it's fairly straightforward. Now, the reason we didn't go through and actually use Python requests first to show you how to do it that way, because it's way more cumbersome than it's worth. You can do it. It absolutely can. You just have to create and use OAuth, which is a whole nother type of authentication than what we were doing with just doing the basic username and password stuff. This requires tokens, which are coming from the user. So it's requiring 4 tokens instead of what we had before, which was just the 2. So that is it for connecting with the Twitter API. I do want to challenge you to try all the different methods in here. And if you do have any questions, please let us know. We are going to link the documentation as well as the GitHub in the code itself, so you guys can reference that in the future. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.